A very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News. I'm Zola Outscoon. We are bringing you the live news this evening from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Muslims celebrate Eid with much grandeur. New Inland Revenue Act removes powers of ministers to provide tax reliefs. All preparations set for the 66th anniversary celebrations of the SLFP. MP Geeta Kumarasinghe in ICU after sustaining burn injuries. Experts believe issues relating to Umayyad stem from carelessness or shortcomings in construction. Minister Navin Dissanayake says SLFP ministers who criticize the government should accept collective responsibility and leave their posts.
And for those stories in detail, now Muslims around the world celebrate the Hajj festival today. The annual Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca also concluded today.
The Hajj journey is marked as one of the 5 most important responsibilities vested with the Muslim devotees. Religious activities which coincides with the 1-month pilgrimage season in Mecca ends today. It is said that this is the largest gathering of Muslims in the world every year. Religious observances were held in several parts of the country this morning to mark the Hajj festival.
أتيت ربي إليك مرددا لبيك أتيت ربي إليك.
In his message to mark Hajj, President Maithripala Sirisena says that the message given by the Hajj is to socialize the mutual bonds in a world where only divisions are seen, and discipline to respect the leadership, and it portrays a society with excellent social justice and coexistence. In his message, the President, wishing all Islam devotees for the Hajj festival, says that the noble message conveyed to the world through the holy Mecca, where the coexistence among humans come alive, must be celebrated. In his message, Prime Minister Geeta Kumarasinghe says that Hajj festival brings together the global community of Muslims, encouraging them to share a fellowship of compassion and love, empathy and coexistence, all of them exemplary qualities that the world can learn much from. Issuing a special message in view of the Hajj festival, Opposition Leader R. Sambanthan says that today's festival stresses the importance of sacrifice, which enables communities to understand each other and live in peace and harmony. Leader of the National Freedom Front Azad Saleh, issuing a special Hajj festival message, says that he wishes that all those who are adversely affected, including the Muslims, through the changes in the legal system of the country, are served justice. In his message, Azad Saleh says that it is a wish of all that there is lasting peace and reconciliation between all nationalities of the country.
The Ceylon Electricity Board suffered a loss of 13.2 billion rupees last year. Unfortunately, since this is an essential service to the general public, this loss will eventually be borne by the general public. However, while the Ceylon Electricity Board suffers record losses, there are certain other individuals who have turned power generation into a lucrative stream of income.
At present, 15% of the country's electricity demands are being met through independent power producers or IPPs. This electricity is generated through privately owned diesel power plants. The Keravalapitia power plant, which runs on low sulfur heavy oil, is the main private supplier of electricity. This power plant is being operated by West Coast Power Private Limited. This power plant, also known as the Yugadanavi Power Station, has a capacity of 300 megawatts and commenced the generation of electricity in 2010. The Ceylon Electricity Board has entered into a 25-year power purchasing agreement with West Coast Power Private Limited. According to this agreement, while an annual mandatory fee of 720 million rupees needs to be paid to West Coast Power Private Limited, every time the power plant is kicked into operation and every time it is cooled down, a sum of 2.7 million rupees and 4.3 million rupees needs to be paid to West Coast Power Private Limited respectively. In addition, a sum of 28 rupees is paid per unit of electricity obtained from West Coast Power Private Limited. As a result, a sum of 29.484 billion rupees was paid by the CEB to West Coast Power Private Limited for 2016 for the purchase of electricity. While the company is generating record profits, serious suspicion has arisen with regard to the disbursement of those profits. What happens to the profits of this company? Is West Coast Power Private Limited actually an independent power producer? Newsfirst investigations have revealed a great deal of information in this regard. More details on this expose soon.
The Central Hills are experiencing heavy rains these days. However, those victimized by the Umaoya multi-purpose project live with the fear that their lands may cave in due to the heavy downpours.
Excavations for the Umaoya multi-purpose project resulted in a number of cave-ins from Karandagolla to Puhulpola and Dairaba. The excavations in Karandagolla caused a leak of between 1,000 to 5,500 litres of water per second. While this not only destroyed the water resources in the area, it also caused cracks in the walls of houses and resulted in the destruction of farmlands.
During the rains, the water levels in the tunnel rises. This causes the wells of those living above the tunnel to dry up and also results in cracks in the walls of homes. The Umaoya project did not pay any attention to these facts during construction. When this incident occurred in December, we made certain modifications, but this was not carried out in a proper manner. This damage was caused clearly due to the carelessness or shortcomings in construction activities and not due to reasons endemic to the Umaoya project. The leak is nearly 200 meters inside the tunnel. We will have to drill it and inject cement into this leak at high pressure. To seal the leak, a special mix of cement needs to be used with special equipment, and this activity is a 24-hour operation. Once the leak is sealed, water will stop seeping into the tunnel and will help normalize the environmental conditions of the area.
Another 5 kilometers of excavating remains to complete the longest tunnel of the project. As a result of the heavy environmental damage caused by the project, excavation activities of the Umaoya project have been temporarily halted. This is the manner in which the lives of those living above the tunnel have been affected, while excavations are being carried out under their feet. The people of the Karava Bandar will have been severely victimized as a result of the Umaoya multi-purpose project. It is amidst various hardships that I built this house with many loans. The walls of the entire house have cracks now. We don't feel safe inside the house.
During the last months, the cracks have intensified. When such threats persist, not a single official has come to observe the damages so far. The people of these houses have been asked to vacate their homes when there is rain of more than 70 millimeters. When there is rain in the middle of the night, where are we to go?
We would like to shift our attention on to yet another story that made it to the headlines this evening. Now, actress and parliamentarian Geeta Kumarasinghe suffered burn injuries following an accident at her residence yesterday. She is currently receiving treatment at an intensive care unit of a private hospital in Colombo.
According to police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara, the accident occurred at the parliamentarian's Navala residence when a domestic gas cylinder exploded. Reports suggest that Geeta Kumarasinghe suffered burn injuries to her hands, feet and abdomen. According to Tilak Kumar, a relative of Geeta Kumarasinghe, the incident occurred at around 7:30 p.m. yesterday. He added that the parliamentarian is not in a critical condition. Tilak Kumar also noted that she is currently receiving treatment at the intensive care unit due to the large number of visitors arriving at the hospital. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at the private hospital in Colombo this morning.
I came to look into Geeta Kumarasinghe's condition. She is conscious and can speak. She has suffered burn injuries due to the accident.
Accident.
News from the President's Diary this evening. President Maithripala Sirisena attended several events in Polonnaruwa today.
An event was held to begin reconstruction work of a 27-foot Buddha statue in the Mannampiti area under the auspices of the President. The President also attended religious observances organized by the Polonnaruwa Buddhist Society.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party's 66th anniversary convention is set to be held at the Campbell Park in Colombo under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena tomorrow.
The SLFP's BICO organisation, its branch members, officers, Balamandala representatives, organisers and every other organisation connected to the party will attend the convention. The convention is set to begin at 2 p.m. with the arrival of President Maithripala Sirisena. The theme for this year's convention is People's Power in the Right Direction.
He said that during the 66th anniversary that there is no point in just showing the crowds. The President said it has to be held under a meaningful theme. That is why a theme of clean politics was brought in. He has practically proven that he is bound to empower clean politics. What is wrong, be it anyone from his side or one from the SLFP, UMP or any other party. That is his stand. Honestly, I see this as a lame statement. He previously stated that he was not invited. Then Minister Dumini Dissanayake has told the papers today that the invitation was handed over to the former president. If he is a member of the party, he should respond to it.
This will be the best convention of the party's history. We have made sure of that. We have invited former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. One of the head chairs has been reserved just for you alongside President Maithripala Sirisena. We invite you with honour to that chair.
The Ministry of Finance and Mass Media notes that the ability for ministers to provide tax concessions as and when they please has been removed through the new Inland Revenue Act. The ministry made this announcement through a media release signed by Director of Media at the Ministry, M.A. Hassan.
MP Bandula Gunawardena had earlier stated that the new Inland Revenue Act had been developed by foreigners to affect the local population. The media release questions whether the parliamentarian has forgotten of the Strategic Development Act brought in under the tenure of the previous government, which provided large-scale tax breaks and tax holidays to foreign nationals. The release further notes that the previous government used this act to provide long-term tax concessions to selected foreign nationals with the aim of pocketing commissions. According to the Ministry of Finance, the secretive tax policies of the previous regime led to a warped situation where 10% of the country's population controlled the dividends of 54% of the economy. The release points out that the new act has put an end to the era where local investors have to plead and go behind politicians or their associates to gain tax breaks and concessions to match their investments. It says that, as the Act explains, the tax concessions and breaks given to investors accordingly, the investors can learn beforehand of the concessions that they will receive. The notice also says that groups connected to Mahinda Rajapaksa who cannot bear to see the powers of ministers being curtailed are attempting to mislead the public by making false statements. According to the media release, the Inland Revenue Act also takes away the finance minister's ability to provide tax concessions or breaks. The notice also denies the statements which say that those in families who earn an annual income of 600,000 rupees or less, senior citizens and places of worship will be subject to taxation through this act. According to the release, entrepreneurs, small and medium-scale industries, as well as farmers and journalists will be given interest concessions through 8 new proposed loan systems which will come into effect through state and private banks from September.
The second Indian Ocean Conference, which began in Colombo on Thursday, came to a close at Temple Trees yesterday. The two-day conference brought together many high-ranking government officials and representatives from nearly 30 countries to discuss cooperation and security concerns in the Indian Ocean region. President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe attended the closing ceremony of the conference yesterday.
As much as we depend on the ocean for the sustenance of life, certain individuals utilize the ocean as a tool to destroy human life. They use the ocean to end peace and start wars. The ocean is used by drug dealers to transport their products. The ocean is also used for the purpose of human trafficking.
The need to follow the international laws and of governance of oceanic activities, the UNCLOS, and they recommended supplementing that with the code of conduct and principles of engagement. Throughout the conference, there was greater emphasis and thoughts on peace. On peace, the delegates emphasized on greater networking, strengthening institutional framework to ensure freedom of navigation and overflights, cooperation in anti-piracy, and collective counter-terrorism efforts, as also preventing radicalization of our societies.
The World Peace and Communication Association, convening a media briefing today following the Indian Ocean Conference in Colombo, states that the Chinese government and its public are committed to ensuring the Indian Ocean becomes the heart of a global economy. The delegation of the World Peace and Communication Association, led by Vice President Marina Jiang, was invited to attend the Indian Ocean Conference by the Indian Foundation, which is one of the organizers of the conference.
We live in a region and world defined by ever-great interconnectedness. As Chinese President Xi Jinping has said, the global economy is a big ocean you cannot escape from. The Indian Ocean is at the heart of that global economy. And that is why Chinese government and Chinese people are committed to making sure that all of us on all sides of the great ocean are able to benefit together. We're living in a difficult global moment. But that presents a great opportunity for leadership in the region to shine. The international community faces serious interlocking challenges that no nation alone can solve. So together with the Prime Minister from Sri Lanka, Wickremesinghe, we're building a platform for all stakeholders, governments, business, NGOs, students across all countries, to make progress on the issue that is worthy our shared history and will define our future.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe attended a religious event in Kuliyapitiya today. A program was held to commence the renovation of the Sri Sudharma Ramavihare in Dandagamua, Kuliyapitiya.
We need to protect the rich history of our temples. That is the task being carried out by the Central Cultural Fund. Our plan is to provide each area with the resources that they need. There's a law in Andhra Pradesh in India where Hindu kovils that generate more money disburse some of their funds for the protection of smaller kovils. In addition to this, here in Sri Lanka, our ministries too have allocated funds for this purpose. We have many benefactors. Since we received donations from them, we have been able to commence restoration work in Lumbini, Nepal, which is the birthplace of Lord Buddha, as well as the Kapilavastu city where Lord Buddha spent his childhood.
The government does not allocate separate funds for the Central Cultural Fund. The Central Cultural Fund's main source of income is the money generated through the sale of tickets to foreigners at these historic locations. As an example, our main contributor is the ticket sale for foreigners at Sigiriya. We plan to complete the conservations of these projects soon.
A program to provide compensation to small-scale tea holders whose estates were damaged by the recent floods was held in the Matugam area under the auspices of Minister of Plantation Industries, Navin Dissanayake.
For the first time in the history of Sri Lanka, a finance minister resigned from his post. There were some allegations. The president and the prime minister told him to resign from his post until he is cleared from these allegations. If a wrong is committed, and if there are allegations, please go home. Do not come to steal. Ours is a party that accepts collective responsibility. That is why we told Vijayadasa Rajapaksa that if you do not accept this, please resign. He was removed. We would like to tell this to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party as well. If there are certain SLFP ministers who are levelling various allegations to the government while being in the government, then please accept the collective responsibility and move out. Now you should think twice when politicians come to you to ask for your vote. Think whether that person is a thief or not.
It has been 2 years since this 8-kilometer stretch of road from the Moratua Bridge to the Valana Junction along the A2 road was renovated using funds from a local commercial bank. Over 10 million rupees was spent to create this drainage system. This tunnel-like structure was created to take away rainwater. However, no proper entry point was created to let the water in. This has affected residents living on either side of the road. The contractor in question has also taken steps to close this drain as the RDA has failed to provide a clear plot of land to release this water to. We informed this issue to the chairman of the RDA. He passes the blame to the project director. The project director in turn passes the ball to the on-site engineer. They pass around the blames, but the people are left affected. The RDA shirking its responsibilities in this regard is astounding. The only land next to a culvert into which the water can be released is one which has no identified owner. Instead of inconveniencing the public by allowing water to stagnate in drains which stretch for 8 kilometers, shouldn't the RDA take steps to follow through on providing a land to drain this water to? Chairman of the Road Development Authority, this is over to you.
In national development news, the Yarnway project, which has been constructed with the aim of bringing about better water management, is moving ahead in rapid pace.
The Water Resource Development Project begins from Sigiriya and is set to bring an economic boost to the people living in the districts of Anuradhapura and Trincomalee. The waterway falls on the Hurulu River at the 70-kilometer mark and will go on to reach the Yarnway project after 170 kilometers. The proposed reservoir will have a capacity of 140,000 acre-feet with the main dam spanning 1.2 kilometers. The project will consist of 4 small dams as well. The Yarnway Left the Right Bund project will carry out water for 28 lakes. Around 4,000 paddy fields will benefit from the project, while around 8,000 acres of it will receive a direct water supply. The project will also end the 2-hour water supply to the Trincomalee town and go on to supply water continuously throughout the day. The public will be able to experience the benefits of this project by 2020.
A tense situation arose when security officials of Trinity College, Kandy, tried to enter land that is said to belong to the college.
Security officials entered this land, which is said to be owned by Trinity College, Kandy, today and took measures to put padlocks on the entrance. An individual who is alleged to have ownership claims for the land in question arrived at the location and behaved in an unruly manner. The police who arrived at location managed to calm the situation and take both parties to the police. Police then informed both parties to appear before the Kandy court on Wednesday with regard to today's incident. When contacted, Chief Executive Officer of Trinity College, Geeta Kumarasinghe, said that 3 cases have been filed against the individual who is making ownership claims for this land on charges of making false deeds.
The Gammadha program, which was initiated focusing on the development of rural population, has now come to the city. The Good Market is a successful concept that was initiated by a group of Sri Lankan youth for the rural population. The Gammadha stall opened at the Good Market is receiving much feedback from the people of the city centre.
The Gammadha stall, which operates at Good Market every Saturday, functioned today as well. The aim of the stall is to educate the urban population about the development activities undertaken by the Gammadha program. The visitors to Good Market can enjoy village delicacies that are difficult to find in the city. We do feel something special is happening after Gammadha started here. We sell more and more people visit the market.
I think there were more people today. Business was also good. We have come to the Good Market because we don't have a place to sell our goods. Now that you have joined hands with the Good Market, people will receive more benefits. I see this as a humanitarian service that is going beyond mere media duties.
We appreciate the fact that Gammadha has come to Colombo. We believe that our business too will be benefited by this.
I believe that with Gammadha being here, our Good Market program will receive island-wide exposure.
The first Good Market and Gammadha joint venture will take place on the 16th of September in Kandy.
The foundation stone for the bridge that will join the Nugekhanda and Dompeyaya villages in Suryababa was laid today by Minister of Housing and Construction Sajid Premadasa.
An estimated cost of 23.9 million rupees will be spent for this project, which is another venture of the program to provide relief to the Hambantota district.
Those who took votes by scaring people that various concessions will be cut will not be permitted to ask for votes this time. The government is trying to hold elections. However, those who took commissions from rural development projects, those who took bribes and rogues of this nature are going to courts because they cannot face the election. We would like to challenge Mahinda Rajapaksa. Do not be scared. Do not engage in cowardly politics. If you have a backbone, face the election without going to courts and causing further delays.
It's cricket news. Sri Lanka batting coach Avishka Gunabordhana says they will implement a special strategy to sustain their batting partnerships in the 5th and final one-day international to be played against India tomorrow. Avishka Gunabordhana expressed these views at a press briefing in Colombo today.
It's more mental preparation and the tactical part that we need to sort out than the technical part. That's where we are lacking. And if you take all the 4 ODIs out of first 6 batsmen, almost everyone has got to a start, but couldn't go on to get the big one. And these are small things that we always discuss. And guys are still young. They need to learn from their mistakes, but they need to learn fast. You just have to make sure to try and win the game tomorrow. And that's the only way that we can turn it around. If I say the mood is really good, if I be brutally honest, yes, the confidence levels are a little down.
The 5th and final ODI against India will be played at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo tomorrow. The match is scheduled to commence at 2:30 p.m. India lead the 5-match ODI series 4-0. This resulted in Sri Lanka losing direct qualification for the 2019 ICC World Cup after failing to clinch victory in at least 2 matches of the series.
Well, on that note, we wrap up this edition of Week in Primetime News. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'm Zola Outsgun. Take care. Good night.